In a prison known as the Vertical Self-Management Center, Goring wakes up in a concrete cell with the number 48 on its wall. There's nothing but a bed and a sink for him to use and a hole in the middle of the floor, which his cellmate Trimagasi calls the pit. There are hundreds of floors like theirs, all of them with 2 prisoners using fake names assigned by the management. Every day, food is lowered on a platform through the hole, and you have 2 minutes to eat as much as possible before it leaves to a lower floor. At the end of each month, prisoners are shuffled and sent to different floors. When Goring sees the platform for the first time, he decides not to eat because he isn't hungry. After eating as much as he can, Trimagasi spits on the table, knowing people above probably do the same. Goring decides to keep an apple for later, but after the platform leaves, the cell begins to feel extremely hot. It turns out that keeping food is forbidden, so Goring has to get rid of the apple or they'll burn to death. This makes Goring think about the interview he had before entering the place when he had to sign a paper accepting the fact he can't get out until the agreed period is over. Every prisoner has a choice to bring one item with them, and Goring chose to bring a copy of Don Quixote. Goring came here voluntarily. He'll spend 6 months in exchange for an accredited diploma. The next day, Goring refuses to eat again when the platform comes, and Trimagasi thinks floor 48 is wasted on him. Goring asks Trimagasi for his story, and Trimagasi explains it all started with a television ad. He bought an extraordinary knife that he saw on TV, but only a few days later, they released a new ad promoting an even better knife. This made him so furious that he took the TV and threw it out the window, killing a guy that was passing by. Trimagasi was given a choice between a psychiatric hospital and the hole, so here he is. The lowest he's gone was 132, thus he knows there are more floors than that because he could see them below. No food reaches the lower levels, and a month down there isn't that bad. The problem is when you get 2 lower levels in a row. Goring is scared of this possibility and tries to talk to the people on the other floors to ask them to ration their food, but he's ignored. Trimagasi replies by pissing into the lower floor. He also reveals that the item he chose to bring with him is the knife he bought from TV. The next time the platform comes by, Goring finally begins to eat. He also sees a person from the upper levels fall through the hole, and Trimagasi says this is very common, but nobody will do anything about it. Trimagasi tells Goring about all the floors he's been on and mentions they'll be together next month. Goring realizes that cellmates are kept together when they're shuffled and finally understands Trimagasi ate his previous cellmate when he was on the lower floors. When the platform comes by again, Miharu is sitting on it. Goring worries about her because he notices she's injured, but Trimagasi tells him to ignore her. Miharu comes down the hole once a month to look for her missing child. She also kills every cellmate she gets in order to have more chances to be paired with her child the following month. The guy they saw falling was probably her victim. Trimagasi then explains that unlike her, he never killed anyone. He just ate the body that fell on his floor. When the platform goes to the next level, the prisoners try to take advantage of Miharu. Goring yells at them to leave her alone, but isn't necessary. Miharu just kills them and returns to the platform. When the month reaches its end, the prisoners are put to sleep with gas and shuffled around. When Goring wakes up, he finds himself tied to his bed on floor 171. Trimagasi explains he tied Goring up because he's younger and stronger, so Trimagasi has to protect himself. Screaming can be heard from the other floors that indicate people reacting to their new levels. And when the platform comes, there's not even a crumb left. After 8 days, Trimagasi announces it's finally time for him to get some food. Ignoring Goring's pleas for mercy, Trimagasi uses his knife to get some meat from Goring's thigh, but before he can eat it, the platform arrives, bringing Miharu with it. Miharu remembers how much Goring worried about her and jumps on Trimagasi, attacking him with his own knife. Then she frees Goring and hands him the knife so he can use it to finish Trimagasi off. Goring passes out after that, and he wakes up later to find himself on the bed. Miharu has bandaged his leg with a piece of bed sheet, and she's now eating Trimagasi. She brings some meat to Goring, who accepts after some hesitation. She also brings him some water before leaving on the platform without a word. Days pass, and Trimagasi's body begins to rot, giving Goring the chance to feed on worms too. Goring also begins hallucinating, seeing Trimagasi's ghost judge him as he eats. At the end of the month, gas takes over the cell, and Goring dreams of being with a woman again while Miharu watches. When he wakes up, he discovers that the one licking him is a dog. To Goring's shock, his new cellmate is Inequality, the woman that did his interview when he volunteered to enter this prison. The dog is the item she chose to bring with her. They're now on level 33. Goring remembers the day of the interview and how Imohiri made creepy pauses between questions. In the present, Imohiri explains she volunteered as Goring did, and that she didn't know people die here. As far as she knows, there are 200 levels, and when Goring explains there isn't enough food for all the people here, sometime later, the platform comes down with an unconscious Miharu on it. Goring and Imagiri put her on a bed and take care of her while the dog steals some food. The next day, Miharu leaves on the platform. Goring tells Imogiri about Miharu's search for her child, but Imogiri explains Miharu came alone 10 months ago. She was an actress with no family that volunteered to come just like Goring. Imogiri sent people down here without knowing how bad it was, and she's been fighting cancer for 3 years. When she discovered she lost that fight, she volunteered to come because she thought she could make a difference, but she doesn't care anymore. On their last day on floor 33, Goring tries to make Imogiri eat something because they may not have food tomorrow, but Imogiri is too depressed to leave the bed. The next morning, Goring wakes up to discover he's on floor 202, meaning there are more levels than Imogiri knew about. Such revelation was too much for Imogiri to handle, and she used her bed sheets and things for herself. Goring's new cellmate is actually Baharat. When the platform comes, they have to eat while listening to the prisoners on level 5 get frisky. As time passes, the hallucinations of Trimagesi and Imogiri show up again. Trimagesi says Goring is doing great because he only has 1 more month to go, and Imogiri reminds him that change never happens spontaneously. This inspires Goring to think of a plan, and he asks Baharat for help. They should jump on the platform with whatever weapon they can find and make sure people ration the food so that everyone can eat. Goring did the math when he was on floor 202, and judging by the time the platform takes to move, he thinks there are around 250 levels, which should be doable. Baharat accepts to work together, and they break a bed to use its pieces of metal like weapons. The two of them jump on the platform and go to level 7, where Goring points out they shouldn't allow the prisoners to grab anything. These people ate yesterday and will eat tomorrow for sure, so they should only start handing out food after level 50, which are the people having trouble. After a few more floors, Baharat is shocked to come across Brambang, an old wise man that Baharat respects. Brambang approves of what the boys are trying to do, but he points out that the administration doesn't have a conscience and will care if they succeed, but perhaps the workers on level 0 will, so they need a symbol. Baharat and Goring choose the panna cotta because it's a very luxurious dish and will cause quite an impression if it arrives untouched to the bottom. The mission continues as they keep going down, keeping the panna cotta safe while keeping people away with threats. Once they reach level 50, Baharat and Goring begin handing out rations of food, and people are extremely grateful. On level 97, they find a sick old man and a mentally disabled boy. Goring tries to feed the old man some soup, but the boy tells them not to bother because he'll kill the man later anyway to feed on him. The next level only has a body on it, and Goring guesses this is where Miharu woke up. The platform doesn't stop here because there aren't any living people, which means Goring's calculations were wrong, and there are more than 250 floors. On the following floor, they find 2 men attacking Miharu. One of them has a sword, and the other is huge and burly, so when Goring and Baharat jump in to help the girl, it is extremely hard to defend themselves. Baharat manages to get his guy first, and then he helps Goring kill the big man, but unfortunately, it's too late for Miharu, who is already dead. Goring wants to mourn her. The next time the platform comes, Goring brings Mali with him, and they're lowered into floor 0, which is completely dark and empty. Trimagasi appears to tell Goring to come off the platform because he isn't part of the message, and together they watch the platform go up with Mali, hoping that she will show the abusers above the reality of the situation. Here we come to end of our video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our video. Thanks for watching.